Well, hello traders and investors. I'm L.A. Little and this is your daily NeoTA wrap. We're taking a look at these markets. We're doing it from a neoclassical perspective. That means we're looking at supply and demands. We're looking at the charts. We're looking at timing, which direction to point, when to get in, when to get out. How do you know that? You use significant price points on the chart, make decisions when test of those prices takes place. Doesn't always take place and doesn't always tell you the truth, but most of the time both of those are true, and that allows you to make better decisions. You can take less risk and make as much money, and when the market finally does take a swoon, you won't be standing there holding the bag. As far as what happened today, let's take a look at the numbers. A lot of red on the screen. Not a lot of movement though. 0.2 on the S&P. The biggest loser, Russell, that one moves around the most, 0.8. If you look at the NASDAQ, almost flat. Dow almost flat. NDX, where's the NDX? Up here, slightly higher. Elsewhere, dollar just a little bit higher. You had some selling in Europe, and you had gold and silver breaking out. I actually was talking about this in the morning meeting prior to the market opening with the mentors, saying it looks like gold may be finally turning the corner here. So it doesn't mean you buy it now, but it does tell you that the direction of down is probably done for now, and that's probably a good thing if you want to be bullish on that sector. Let's look at the charts. We'll start here with the S&P. It was a yawner today. I mean, nothing really happened. About as slow as it gets. Inside day, right? Things inside yesterday's bar or Friday's bar, volume just dissipates. There's really nothing going on here. The one thing I was looking at is almost like this range, which is about, the majority of the price points are in that area. If you take that little puppy and you flip it, do it again, and you just draw it up there again, you're going to get almost exact same range to the top here. And so, I guess the question you have to ask yourself is, okay, is this range that was in place this long, is it simply going to be in place that long more going out in time? I don't know if that's the case. I do know that if this does dupe one more time, if we flip it up here, you're going to hit some of those ABCD projection targets that are up there. So maybe we're going to stair-step our way to those targets that have been out there for a very long time, 23, 20, 30, somewhere in that area. So that's when you start hitting them. If you look at this, I haven't looked at this in a long time in terms of the long-term perspective. Looks pretty good, right? I mean, there's very little you can say bad about the way this thing looks. A nice big move up, consolidation, move up, consolidation, move up, right? Consolidation, or at least it's trying to consolidate with a bias to the upside so far. If you look at it on the monthly, right? On the monthly here, you actually have, although it's a tough road higher, you actually have a small push higher off this retest regenerate that took place off the prior swing point highs break. So you get over it, right? You come back in, you test it, and you regenerate higher off of it. That's a good thing. Your volume bar is here. The next push down, that's your support zone. Again, you find significant areas of price. You use those to make decisions. The decision would be, hey, can it get back in here when it finally retraces? If it can't, well, then it's probably going to keep going, right? And that's how you try to mark these things up and look at them. Very slow day. There's really not much to say with respect to the general markets. They didn't really do anything. There's not a lot to say with the sectors themselves. There were some subtle tells on the sector. If I look at, let me pull up the major sectors here. If I look at the financials, for example, the financials failed, and I'm talking about the large caps. They failed up there at the highs today. I don't really want to read too much into this. So what? It's a big range, still a range. It hasn't changed. The one thing that is trying to change is healthcare. Healthcare continues to grind higher. This thing's been in a big range for a long time. You had a downtrend, it's been going sideways. Big bar here that it's got to get over is the 72 mark. It's not that far away now, 71 and a half. I think that's where you're going to either find out that this thing really is going to walk its way back up, or it probably doesn't have the juice, and then that's what we'll find out. The only other thing notable here, not the biotechs. Biotechs were actually up too, along with healthcare, but the SOX just keeps grinding up. That's why that NDX was able to hold those gains today. If we look over at those OX markets, in particular the gold market, what I was looking at this morning and I was talking to the members about was this breakout that we saw here this morning. You could see it was going to try and break over. Well, actually it did it Friday. That's what caught my attention, but you could see it was going to extend it today. And so you got a nice ABCD structure here that has actually been met on that little push. Now you're getting the secondary one here, right, which probably was met today. This thing, now that it's into the big bar, says that you have something going on finally, and I would be focused on this little area that it just broke out from. Those big three black crows, of course, somehow, some way, they usually try to climb to the top. And if you look at the GDX, that's exactly, the GDX has been stronger. That's exactly what it has done. There's your three black crows there. The top of it's 2570. Where you at? 2542. Going to try to reach up to the top, and that's usually where you give it back up. So we'll find out if that's what it wants to do. If you've been riding this on the way up, it's been a good ride. I tried to short it back here, had to close that. It didn't work. It's the way the trade goes sometimes. And once it got over this area, let me see, this breakdown bar is low, 2258. That was a key area. Now it's trying to reach up to that three black crows, which is a 2570 number, not that far away. I wanted to show you two or three stocks here. One of the things that you could do right now is you could be focused on some individual stocks that are doing well in sectors that are doing well. A couple that I was glancing through them here before I came on the air. A couple that really stood out that are stronger than the sectors, and that's really what you're trying to look for, is like Bancorp. Look at this nice big move higher. So you got this breakout over the swing point high, little retest regen here, and now it's trying to regenerate higher. Volume coming into it. That's a nice looking chart when it does that. You can see it on the weekly extending, and you can see it here, of course, on the monthly. I don't know how far it's going to extend. I haven't tried to do the numbers to project. You got a big ABCD structure over here. I don't know. I'd have to do the numbers, but it jumped out at me as one of the stocks that really looked good in that banking financial sector. Another one is STI. You can see how these have broke out, did the retest, now trying to regenerate. What you like to see in something like this, if you're going to go into individual stocks, is you want to see some stocks that are stronger than the general market. Another one that might jump out at you is Morgan Stanley. This one popped out on Friday. It's struggling with that move, but it's trying to get higher. You could go elsewhere. I mean, these are earnings, post-earnings type plays here that I'm showing you. There are others that have tried to do the same thing. For example, we could go in a totally different sector. Here's Boeing. Boeing comes back in, hasn't quite done the retest regenerate, but probably will give you an entry back in this area. And so, some of these stocks, as they come back in, will set up some buys for someone that wants to trade them back to these highs. I don't know if that's the particular one I would like, but again, I was just glancing through them. Another one really strong, for example, Checkpoint. This is a hot sector. This one's a hot stock. Got a nice big bump on earnings, and it's holding up there towards the top. Breakout in this area might give you an opportunity to get long. So as you go through the stocks, look for those that are stronger than the market, stronger than the sector that they're in. give you some nice opportunities to pick up some change here while the general markets just basically go nowhere. I'm going to leave it at that. That's it for tonight. I'll join you tomorrow. Have a great one. I'll see you next time. Good night.